Hi, welcome to Country Carnivore. Today we're going to cook Scotch eggs with a side of Hollandaise sauce. I'll do a separate video on the Hollandaise sauce because I just use it on so many different things. It's delicious. But anyway, it's really good with the Scotch eggs. So let's go ahead and get started on this. So for the Scotch eggs, you're going to need a pound of sausage. Now this is breakfast sausage. You could use any sausage. In fact, the first time I had this was as an appetizer at a restaurant for dinner. So they didn't use a breakfast sausage. I don't know what they used, but it was delicious. So we need that. We also need hard-boiled eggs. I'm using 6. As you can see, I don't actually know how to peel hard-boiled eggs because they look like golf balls. But anyway, we won't hold that against me. I boiled them for 6 minutes. You know, I normally like a runny middle, but because I'm going to be manipulating them, I needed them to be a little bit more firm. So, use your judgment. I probably should have gone like a solid 10 minutes. Also, when I did the ice bath after I hard boiled the eggs, I sort of cheated because I was thawing out shrimp for dinner. And so they were in a bowl, icy with water, and I just threw the eggs in there. And it's possible that, the eggs really didn't get enough ice because I thought I was being efficient and I think I just screwed things up. But anyway, don't do that. Back to our ingredients. We have, like I said, a pound of breakfast sausage, 6 eggs. I need a cup of pork panko, right? And then I've got 4 strips of bacon that I'm going to grind up. I'm going to mix it in with the pork panko. And that will be for the Scotch eggs. I'm also going to have an egg with some milk that I dredge it in for breading. We'll get to that. So we're going to need more eggs. And then for the hollandaise, you're going to need 3 egg yolks and a tablespoon. Hold on a second. I have a cheat sheet. Yeah, tablespoon. Tablespoon of lemon and a dash of paprika. And of course, you can do whatever you like. You could put Dijon in there if you want. We did that. I really didn't like it with this particular recipe. So we're not going to do that today, but you could. All right, so the first thing I want to do is I'm going to get to work on the Scotch eggs. There's a little bit of a trick here. So, like I said, you're going to hard boil the eggs and peel them. I figured you guys can figure out how to do that or look up another YouTube video. So I did that off screen, which is good because I cursed a lot because it didn't go well. The next thing you want to do is you're going to put the sausage around the egg, which is a little tricky. So what I'm going to do is use parchment paper. And I'm going to go ahead and just put that down. Now, the recipe really calls for a pound of sausage, but it seems that nowadays everything comes in 12 ounces for no particular reason. This is 12 ounces. So I've got 6 patties here, and then I've got these that I'm going to need to divide up. So I don't know what to tell you guys. Maybe do 8 eggs if it comes with 8 patties. I trust your judgment. So let's go ahead. I'm going to open this up. And really what I'm showing you here is a technique. So I'm going to take one of these patties and I'm just going to take a little bit more of one of these extras. And you have a couple ways to do this. I'm just going to take off my wedding band. There we go. You could either just put it in your hands, right, and work it like you would Play-Doh. Remember Play-Doh? I made great snakes and snails. Anyway, you're going to put it in your hands, or what I like to do is put it on the parchment paper, get another sheet of parchment paper, and then I've got this pan. It's clear so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to use this to kind of smash the patty between the parchment paper. And let's see. Here, I'll show you what it looks like. There we go. So I'm going to do that. And then try to peel it off. So I spent so long getting ready for this that my sausage is scarily warm. It's kind of sticking. All right, so I can either peel it off or I cheat a little bit. And I use my old pastry / bread scraper that I no longer use because I eat a carnivore diet. And I can kind of help it along. So I feel like more chilled would have been better. but that's okay. The whole point is yours will be delicious and you'll avoid my mistakes. All right, so we take this. I'm going to take my prettiest egg here. I'm just going to pop it in there. Oh, felt a little shell. I'm really not good at peeling these eggs. And then I'm going to just wrap it around, right? And try to evenly cover my egg. All right, so here we go. All right, so when you're done successfully, hey, I did something successful. It's going to look like a little meatball. Can you see that? Here, a meatball. All right, so we'll just set this aside and continue with the rest. So I'm not going to torture you with watching me do the rest. So we'll just take care of that and come back. Okay, so we finished putting this, here, let's pull this back here. There we go. Putting sausage around my eggs. Don't they look pretty now with the sausage on them instead of what I did to them before? Anyway, let's set this aside. All right, so the next step, we're going to sort of work on the hollandaise for a minute, and that'll make sense. So what I'm going to do is I've already got 2 egg yolks in here. I want to add 1 more. And what I do, pro tip, I use a dark bowl when I crack eggs so that if there's shell in there, I can see it. So I've already washed this egg from my hens. And I'm just going to crack this egg in here. There we go. And the way I separate the yolk from the white is with my fingers. It's really high tech. I just kind of let the yolk go between my fingers and then I pinch it off. So the reason I'm doing this is because I've now got 3 egg whites that need to be used, and I'm going to use them for dredging with the Scotch eggs. So I'm going to need to wash my hands. So hold on a second. All right. Okay. So what we want to do is I'm going to go ahead and just put those eggs in a bowl. Let's go ahead and break them up a little bit first. And you know what? I'm going to put, so I've got 3 egg whites in here, right? I'm going to go ahead, set this aside. And I'm going to throw a little heavy whipping cream in here just because it's delicious and I have it. And we all know heavy whipping cream has the fewest amount of carbs. So let's just do that. All right. Okay, so this is ready to go. So now I've already measured out a cup of the pork panko, but it's not very exciting. I want to add a little something to it. And that's why I've got 4 pieces of bacon that I've chopped up and I put them in my coffee grinder. So you could just chop it up by hand, food processor, whatever. I use my coffee grinder for pretty much everything except for coffee. So we're just going to go ahead and pulse this a few times. It's a nice noise. There we go. All right, let me show this to you. So let's get everybody out. So here we go. It's nice and chopped up. I'm going to just pop it in there. And then there's a whole bunch stuck in the grinder, which I knew was going to happen because this is not my first rodeo. So I'm just going to scoop that out into here. And I promise if you ever come over and I make you coffee, it won't be ground up in this grinder. So, all right. Oh my gosh, here we go. That looks so good. It smells so good. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I've added the 4 strips of bacon to the pork panko, and I just want to mix that in. I think the first time I had this, the coating was not breadcrumbs, right? Because that's what we're replicating here is bread. That's what we're making a mess with too. We're replicating the breadcrumbs. The first time I had this, it was with ground up bacon. It was so good. It was in Vermont. They know how to keep you warm in the winter. So, all right. This is pretty well mixed. Just want to say a little housekeeping here. Prior to this, I drank really an absurd amount of coffee for what I was going to do today. And so I'm feeling pretty good right now. Feeling like maybe that last cup was a mistake, actually. So, okay, so this is all mixed up, ready to go. So now I've got my air fryer tray. So there's a couple ways to do this. One is you could actually just get these coated and fry them up in like tallow or bacon grease, ghee. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to go ahead and just use the air fryer. It's just cleaner. So I fried plenty of stuff already. So I got my tray here from the air fryer. And I'm just going to go ahead and coat these. Let's move this out of the way. I don't have enough workspace here. There we go. And make a little well there. There we go. All right. So this is not high tech. You take one of these, you put it in your little egg white, in this case, heavy cream mixture. You can do whatever you want, and then I'm just going to put it in here. And I'm realizing I should have worked the other direction just because I'm right-handed, and now my right hand is disgusting. All right. You know what? I'm leaning into this. It's getting more disgusting. So, all right. So now this is lovely and coated, right? And it's ready to go in here. So let's put it over here. And you want a little bit of room, obviously, with these. Now the air fryer will be set to 390 degrees Fahrenheit or 200 Celsius, depending on where you live. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna put them in the air fryer for 6 minutes, flip them over, and then another 6 minutes, and that should do it. Because if you think about it, the egg's already cooked. You're really just cooking the exterior with that thin, it's really thin, the sausage layer. If you manage to get your hands on an actual pound of bacon, it'll be a little bit thicker. But anyway, so it's not a long time. All right, and then what we're going to do is while that's cooking, we're going to finish up the hollandaise sauce. I've already got on the stove a stick of butter, melted, and that's going to go into the hollandaise sauce. So we're going to get plenty of fat with this between the bacon and the hollandaise sauce. This should be pretty high for fat content, which is something I always focus on with a carnivore diet. And let's just keep going here. All right, I'm going to stop talking now and we can just fast forward this part. Okay, we're all set here. These are ready to go into the air fryer. Presumably you would have preheated your air fryer, as I said, to 390 or 200 Celsius. The other thing I want to mention is that if you want to make these up ahead of time, they're kind of labor intensive. So, maybe you want to make a double batch or you have people coming over. You could do everything up to the point of coating them with the sausage and freeze them, right? And then the last thing that you're really doing is just dredging them in the egg milk mixture and putting the breadcrumbs on and cooking them. So that might be a time saver for you if you want to go ahead and get a jump on this in advance. All right, let's fry these up. All right, so the Scotch eggs are in my air fryer. I don't have my air fryer in my kitchen because I have a very small kitchen. And so I have it actually in another room in a pantry or sometimes outside if it's something really smoky. So what we're going to do is during that first 6 minutes, which reminds me, I'm going to need some items to flip these things over with in a couple minutes. So during those first 6 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and get going on the hollandaise sauce or continue. All right. So like I said, I've got a huge mess. What the heck? Okay, I've got my 3 egg yolks. I'm just going to add a tablespoon of lemon juice. All right. Wow. All right, cool. I got so much cleanup now. All right. This is brand new and it's really full. There we go. All right, tablespoon of lemon juice. And then I'm going to do a dash of paprika. All right. And then what I want to do is just get my immersion blender and I'm going to blend this together. So I've got it right here, ready to go. I started thinking about it and I was wondering if I should call out the air fryer as a special piece of equipment. I don't know if a lot of people have those. I don't even have a microwave. So to me, it's a special piece of equipment, but I think everybody has these now, probably except for me, who's new to the game. I just got it like, I don't know, a month or two ago. Anyway, so I don't know if I should list that as special equipment or is that just assumed now? If you guys want to let me know in the comments, that would be helpful. All right, so we're going to go ahead and immerse and blend. All right. And then I'm just going to leave this here for a second. And I'm going to grab my melted butter. Okay. And what I really want to do is pour this in while I'm blending. And here we go. And like I said, it's a stick. I use Kerrygold for this one. So good butter because we're really just eating the butter kind of straight. There we go. Pour it in. Blend it up. So you just want to make sure it's well blended. And this is ready to go. All right. I've eaten this straight out of the bowl when, I don't know, I didn't like what I made for dinner, but I made hollandaise sauce and I just eat it. Also, it's not too bad to like put in the refrigerator and reheat later. You just have to blend it again to get the butter mixed in because it wants to separate. I should probably make up a double batch because honestly, I could put this on everything. All right. So that's it. We're ready to go. Let's go flip the, I can smell them. Let's go flip those Scotch eggs and then we're almost ready to eat. So excited. Okay. We've got the Scotch eggs from downstairs. I've got plates ready to go. And let's just take a look at how good these turned out. So it's going to plate these. My husband and I each eat 3 of these. I don't know what your appetite's like, but ours is healthy. There we go. And then I'll go ahead and do this. I hope you really enjoy this. I think I know what went wrong with my eggs. I think I did not cook them long enough because I just saw some yolk leaking out. So don't do that. All right. Here we go. For the hollandaise, just so you know, I actually did need to reheat the hollandaise because it started to solidify because I took so darn long. And it took me just 30 seconds in the same pan that I melted the butter in. So that way I didn't overcook it. I don't want to, cook the yolk. I just kind of want to melt it again. So I did that. And here we go. Oh my gosh, I love this stuff. There will not be any leftovers. And just so you know, I have dogs. So my leftover breadcrumbs, so-called, that I made with the pork panko and the bacon, that's going to go in the dog's bowl. The same with the heavy cream and the leftover eggs. They're going to love it. So my dogs are half carnivore because they get our leftovers all the time. All right, here we go. Let's take a look. Let's cut one of these open. See how pretty this comes out. I hope it really does come out pretty because that would be annoying. It doesn't matter. It's going to taste great. So, oh my goodness, look at this. All right, let me show you. Got a little bit of a runny yolk in the middle there. And that's it. It's beautiful and it tastes amazing and it's incredibly nourishing. So thank you for coming to the Country Carnivore and see you next week with our next recipe. It'll probably be a dinner. Bye.